Hello, and welcome to ACC's Biology 2306, The Living Planet. This narration is designed to help you set your expectations for the class. We're going to discuss how the course is put together, how you will be graded, and some of the course policies. You will want to have a copy of the course syllabus and schedule handy as we go through these slides together. Also, if you have difficulty reading the slides, there is a printable version of the slides available on Blackboard. Let's get started. So again, welcome to The Living Planet. I think this course is a lot of fun and very interesting. This course is going to teach you about ecology and biogeography and biodiversity. So you're going to be learning about the different environments that exist on this planet, the challenges that living in those environments pose to living things like plants and animals, including humans, and how plants and animals and humans use different kinds of strategies to overcome those challenges. This course allows you to be a virtual traveler. Together we're going to explore the highest mountaintops, the deepest oceans, the hottest and coldest environments on the planet, the driest and the wettest environments on the planet, and we're going to get to explore the fascinating organisms that live in these different environments and learn how they survive. You need to complete an orientation to prepare for this course. All of the orientation materials are located in the Course Content menu on Blackboard. That's on the left-hand side of the screen on the Blackboard homepage. The specific materials that you'll need are located here in the Syllabus and Orientation menu. There's several steps to orientation. First, you'll need to read through the syllabus and schedule and work through this narrated PowerPoint and contact me with any questions that you have. Once we've answered your questions, you can go into the Syllabus and Orientation folder and obtain a student information sheet. You'll then need to fill out this sheet and return it to me in some way. You can scan it or take a picture of it and email it to me, or you can even mail it to me, and the address and instructions for doing so are located on the student information sheet. You also need to send me an email stating that you have sent your student information sheet to me so I can keep an eye out for it. Once I've received and looked over your student information sheet, then I will send you a confirmation email, and at that point, your orientation is complete. Orientation is really important to your success in this course. If you don't complete the orientation by the deadline, you will be dropped from this course. So get on it, don't put it off. Start now, get it done. In order to complete orientation and not be dropped from this course, I must receive all of your orientation materials no later than Sunday, September 1st by 11:59 p.m. Everything you need to know about the format for this class can be found in the course syllabus and schedule. I highly suggest that you obtain these documents and read through them very carefully, and then contact me if you have any questions. Ultimately, it is your responsibility to understand my expectations of you for this course. In this presentation, we're going to go over some of the high points of the syllabus, so it's probably a good idea for you to have a copy handy to refer to as we move forward. One of the first things listed on your syllabus is my contact information. So who am I? My name is Jennifer Herrell, also known as Jen Herrell or Ms. Herrell, and I'm going to be your instructor this semester. As your instructor, I am one of many resources available to help you learn the material. So we will be in contact with each other quite a bit, even though this is an online course. The best way to reach me is via email. You can also reach me through the Blackboard discussion boards, and I will be offering both in-person and virtual office hours. These are times when you can come and see me either online or in person, and we can work through the material together. Now, I'm an adjunct professor, so that means that I don't have a formal office, but I do work as a tutor in the Northridge Learning Lab, and so I will be in there. If you want to come and meet me in person, we can sit down and work on material during that time. The Northridge Learning Lab is located on the Northridge campus in room 4119, that's the 4000 building. And this semester, I'll be in there on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. until noon. I will also host some virtual or online office hours this semester. These are times when I will be at or near my computer for the specific purpose of answering your questions. Now, I'm not going to sit at the computer and stare at the screen and hope someone asks me a question, but I will check it frequently, and if someone asks a question and gets a good discussion going, I will remain available to help. This semester, my virtual office hours will be on Thursday evenings from 7 to 9 p.m., and if we need to expand that, we very likely can. Now, if you have a question about the class or the content, it's very likely that someone else in the class probably also has that same question. And so for that reason, I encourage you to post your question in the Ask Your Professor/class discussion board feature. Now, if you have something personal that you want to ask me about, something about a grade or an issue you're having, or just something that you don't want the entire class to see, it is also perfectly acceptable to email your question to me. But if it's a question that you don't mind making more public, it could be helpful to the entire class, so post it here. This course is an online distance learning course, and that means there are no classroom meetings, which is kind of great. But that doesn't mean that you will never be required to come to an ACC campus. If you are considering doing your work at home, especially on an internet device like a phone, and your internet access is kind of spotty, then you may want to come into an ACC campus and use an ACC computer lab to do the work. So you're going to need a reliable source of internet to do this, and that might require that you come in. Second, you're required to do your testing in the ACC testing centers. There are 5 unit exams that you'll need to complete this semester. So you'll need to come into an ACC testing center for at least 5 hours this semester. Online courses are definitely more flexible than traditional classrooms in that you get to choose when and where you complete your work. However, you shouldn't assume that an online course is going to be any easier than a traditional classroom. In this course, you're going to cover the exact same type and quantity of material that you would were this a traditional in-class class. And you're going to use many of the same types of activities that you would in a traditional class, including watching lectures, doing reading assignments, and interacting with your classmates. You should also be aware that this class definitely has deadlines. Now, you can complete your work within those deadlines however you'd like, but those deadlines are pretty hard and fast. You don't want to miss a deadline for an assignment. Being successful in an online course takes a big commitment of time and a big dose of self-discipline. You get to determine what your schedule's going to be, but that also means that you have to manage both yourself and your time very wisely. If you leave assignments off to the last minute to complete, they're going to pile up on you and you're going to be in trouble and you're not going to get everything done and you're going to stress yourself out. So just set your expectations to that. You need to set your own deadlines and you have to stick to your own deadlines to be successful. You are absolutely going to need access to a reliable computer with reliable internet access to be successful in this course. Now, if your computer at home or your device at home isn't really super reliable, then you may want to plan to just come to an ACC campus and use the computers that are there. Every single ACC campus has computer labs that are freely available to ACC students with reliable internet access and an IT staff that can help you clear up any problems. We will use Blackboard to access all of our class materials. You will need both an ACC ID number and a password to access the Blackboard site for our course. If you have any issues with the ACC ID number, contact Student Services. You're also going to need access to your ACC email account in order to communicate with me throughout the semester. I send out frequent announcements through Blackboard, and Blackboard automatically emails those announcements to your ACC email account. Again, if you have any issues with your ACC email account, contact Student Services. Computers are amazingly convenient when they are working properly. Of course, they don't always work properly. Here are some things you can try if you're having computer issues. If you're trying to open a website and it's just not working right, try opening it through a different browser. Many of the sites that we use like Firefox and they like Chrome, they work fine in those browsers, but they don't work very well in Internet Explorer for whatever reason. So avoid Internet Explorer. You can also change the settings in your browser to allow pop-ups. Sometimes that will allow certain features to work. You may also need to update some of the software on your computer during the semester. For instance, you may need to update your Adobe PDF reader. You may need to update Flash or QuickTime features so that you can watch certain videos. If you're still running into problems, try calling our helpline. They can connect you with someone in distance learning or someone in IT that may be able to help. You can also visit someone at the learning labs. We do have computer specialists in each of the learning labs that can sometimes help you. This can be especially helpful if you're working on your own device. If you can take your device in, sometimes they can take a look at it and figure out what's going on. If everything else fails, you can always use the computers in the ACC computer labs or in the learning lab to complete your assignments, assuming it's not a strange hour and that they are actually open. Now, we use a number of web links to access information in this course. And of course, links to things on the internet come and go. Sometimes they're accessible and sometimes they're not. I have been double checking these links to make sure they work. But if at any time you find a link that is no longer working or just will not open for you, let me know. And try to let me know ahead of our deadline so I can try and find an alternate for you. If this is your first online course, I suggest that you check out this website. This website contains a number of quizzes and online materials that help you evaluate your skill set and can help you decide whether an online course or a traditional course is better suited to you. If you do decide that you'd rather take this course in class, then we do offer that at ACC. Check out an ACC schedule and see when it might be offered. Next, let's discuss how the materials for this course are organized. There are materials to help you learn the content, and there are assignments designed to help reinforce the content and assess your learning. First, let's talk about the materials for the content. There is a study guide to help you work through the material, and that is accompanied by both the Living Planet videos and a series of narrated lectures. All of these materials are available on Blackboard. Once you've worked through the content in the material, you'll need to complete an individual homework assignment that will be turned in via Blackboard. You'll also be asked to participate in group discussion assignments in which you and your classmates will work through some of this material together. And all of that will eventually be followed by a unit test that will be taken through Blackboard, but it must be taken in an ACC testing center. The majority of the material that you'll need to learn for this course can be found in two sources: the Living Planet Concepts and Questions study guide and the Living Planet videos. First, let's talk about the study guide. This study guide was written by 3 fantastic ACC professors, and it's very thorough. It leads you through the material and asks you questions and allows you to practice the material. The study guide is absolutely free and can be printed out from the study guide area on Blackboard. Or if you would prefer to print it out in little chunks for each unit, you can look for the chunks in each unit folder. For instance, the chunk that applies to Unit 1 will be in the Unit 1 folder. The Living Planet videos that you'll need to watch can also be accessed online for free. The link is located on Blackboard, right here under Streaming Videos. The first thing you're going to want to do when you're ready to tackle the material is to get a copy of the study guide. I prefer to print out the study guide and to actually handwrite in my answers and my notes, but if you have an electronic alternative to that, you are more than welcome to use that method. The study guide itself will not be taken up and graded, but I think you're going to find it pretty essential to your learning in this course. There will be information in the study guide that you'll need to learn that is testable. It's also going to provide a framework for you in taking appropriate notes while watching the Living Planet videos. It has a series of questions that will help you practice the material, and I do suggest that you actually take the time to answer the questions at the end of each unit. If you want to get started, the first section is pages 1 through 28 in that study guide. The study guide works in conjunction with the Living Planet video series. These videos came out in 1984, and they were produced by the BBC. So yeah, they are a little bit dated, but the information that they contain is still good information, and it's still a fantastic series. It's just a little retro, right? The video series consists of 12 episodes. Each episode is going to take you into a different environment, show you the different challenges faced by living things there, and will give you lots of great examples of how living things can exist in those different environments. So again, you can access these videos for free through the Streaming Videos link on the main Blackboard menu. You will need Adobe Flash Player in order to open the videos and get them to play properly, and I do suggest that you stay away from Internet Explorer as you're trying to play the videos. They seem to work better through Firefox or through Chrome. If you have trouble with streaming videos or think it might be a problem for you, you can access the DVDs you can buy them online, or you might check at some of the ACC libraries. They have copies. Although if you're going to do that, I'd get there pretty quickly because they will get snatched up. Finally, some of the required material will be found in narrated lectures posted on Blackboard. These will be divided up by unit, so you can find the specific narrated lectures required for each unit in the unit folders. The narrated lectures will either consist of a YouTube video accompanied by printable versions of slides, or a PowerPoint presentation that includes narration. Next, let's discuss the graded assignments that you'll be required to complete for each unit. Here are the point values for all of the required assignments. For each unit, you'll be required to complete an exam, a homework assignment, and a discussion board post. Exams are worth 100 points apiece, so they're worth 500 points total towards your score. Homework assignments are worth 10 points apiece, so they're worth 50 total towards your score. And discussion board posts are also worth 10 points apiece, and there's 5 of those, so they're worth 50 points total towards your score. You have the opportunity to earn up to 600 points for the semester. Here you can see the different grade percentages and letter grades that will be used to assess your learning this semester. Each of these grade levels corresponds to a certain number of points that you can earn this semester, and those point values are listed in your syllabus. For instance, in order to earn an A for this course, you need to earn a total of at least 540 points from all your assignments this semester. Each unit will include a homework assignment to be completed individually. Each homework assignment is worth 10 points. The homework assignments are due every 2 to 3 weeks and in general are going to be due on Fridays. They should be submitted by 11:59 p.m. of the specific date required. Now they're not due every week, so you'll want to look at the course schedule for specific homework due dates. It's perfectly acceptable to submit homework early, but you definitely don't want to turn that homework in late. Here's our course schedule for the first unit of material. And here we are on the very first day, August 26th, and what you can see from this is that the very first homework, the Unit 1 homework, is going to be due no later than September 20th. This should be submitted via Blackboard, and it's due no later than 11:59 p.m., midnight of that date. The homework assignments for each unit are found in the individual unit folders. So your homework for Unit 1 will be found in the Unit 1 folder. You're going to find that the homework is available in two different formats, a printable version and a Blackboard quiz. You'll want to print out the printable version of the homework and work on it on paper. And then once you have all of your answers down the way you want to submit them, you'll want to go back in and open up the Blackboard quiz and use the quiz to actually submit your answers for grading. You can submit your answers to the homework assignment through the Blackboard quiz in more than one sitting. So if you are interrupted in the middle of submitting your answers, it's fine. What you'll want to do in that case is just click on the Save All Answers button and then exit the quiz. And you should be able to go back in and it should have your original answers in there. Do not click on the Save and Submit button. The Save and Submit button submits all of your answers for grading, and you can't reverse that action. You can turn your work in for grading by clicking on the Save and Submit button. Again, you can't reverse that action, so once you submit it, it's in there. You have to submit your answers before the deadline, so look at the course schedule for the deadlines each week. Now, some of the questions on the homework assignments will be automatically graded by Blackboard, and if that's the case, you should be able to go back in through the My Grades feature of Blackboard and actually look at your submission and see what you got right and what you got wrong. If there are questions that are short answer or essay type questions that required writing, then I'm going to have to grade those before you can look at your responses. Be forewarned. Some of these homework assignments are quite lengthy and in-depth and will take quite a bit of time to complete, so don't put them off for the last minute to start. If you wait until the very last second to try and submit your assignment and something goes wrong with your computer, well, you're not going to get to submit your assignment, and I'm not going to go back in and reopen that assignment for you. Get your assignments done ahead of time. Don't wait for the last minute. The online discussion groups are an opportunity for you to work with your classmates to review the material, to clarify your understanding, and also to collaboratively develop a review sheet for the unit test. You'll be expected to participate in one discussion per unit, and there will be a certain number and type of posts that you will have to make. I'll post the topics for you to discuss each week in the individual unit folders. So the discussion topics for Unit 1 will be placed in the Unit 1 folder. After you've discussed the basic topics, you can discuss anything else you want to within your discussion groups. So you can ask questions of one another, you can review certain topics, ask for clarification, share interesting resources, etc. I will post the discussion topics at the beginning of each unit, and then you'll have until the Friday at the end of each unit period to make your contributions to the discussion group. Late postings to the discussion groups will not be accepted. Here we have the course schedule again. And again, we are here at the very beginning. I will post the discussion topics this week, and then you'll have all the way until over here, September 20th by 11:59 p.m. to make your contributions to the discussion group. Now, as with the homework assignments, the discussion assignments are not something you want to put off to the last minute. So don't expect to do all of your posting on September 20th at 10 p.m. In fact, you have to make your posts on at least 2 different days during the discussion period to get credit for them. So I suggest that you get the discussion topics as soon as they are available and begin posting as soon as you can. Again, the point of this is to build a communal review sheet. So you want to be able to respond to one another and work back and forth on it as you go. The point of the group discussion assignments is to allow you to work collectively with your peers to review as much of the material as possible before each unit test. Your group doesn't have to answer every single discussion question posed, but the more the better. Because if you don't answer a question, it's still considered testable material, and that means you're going to have to answer that question individually by yourself before the test. So you do need to work as a group, and the more each member contributes to the group discussion, the better off you'll be. So how will you be graded on this? Well, essentially, you need to contribute 4 posts per unit discussion. So you need to interact with the group 4 times. Your first post needs to be an original post. So let's say you go in and you decide you're going to answer question 1 from the Unit 1 material. To appropriately do this, you should answer part of the question, but not the entire question. You just want to provide a little chunk of material to get the discussion going. And the reason for this is that if you go in and answer every part of every question, it doesn't leave room for anyone else to contribute. The more people contribute and the more times people post, the more material you can cover and the more you'll get out of it. Your initial posts need to be meaningful. They need to talk about the content. It can't be something like, I agree, or how neat, or yes. You will earn 3 points for contributing that initial post. Next, you'll need to post a response to another group member's initial post. This response needs to be meaningful and connect to the content, so it can't be something as simple as or great or good idea. It needs to actually provide some information. But 2 or 3 sentences should be an appropriate response. You also want to avoid repeating what someone else has already said. So you'll want to read through the posts and see what responses have already been posted, and then make yours original. You'll earn 3 points for an appropriate response. Once you've got your initial post and your response, you'll need to contribute 2 additional posts to that discussion before the deadline. The type of post can be up to you. It can be another initial brand new post, or it can be a response to someone else's comment. You'll earn 2 points for your 2 additional posts. You also want to make sure that you make your posts on at least 2 different days during the discussion period, and you should have plenty of time during the unit in which to do so. But you can't make all of your posts all on one day, or you won't earn full credit. I highly suggest that you start these discussion topics as soon as they're available and continue to the discussion through the availability period. Don't wait till the last day to do the discussion topics. For one thing, you can't earn all of the points if you do all of your discussions on the very last day of the availability period. And also, it's going to make the discussion a lot more confusing if everyone's throwing everything in all at once. So spread it out, start early, work on this as you go through. The discussion groups are important to both your grade and to your learning process. Again, this is your opportunity to work collectively with this material, to review each other, to clarify, to go through the material one more time before test time. It's also important because collectively it's 10% of your total grade. In the past, students who do not participate in the discussion groups tend to do worse on the tests. They also don't earn those discussion group points, which should be pretty easy points to add to your score. You'll demonstrate what you've learned from each unit by completing an exam for that unit. The exams will be taken online through Blackboard, but must be taken in an ACC testing center. So these are secure tests. You will be given scratch paper to use during your test, but you may not use notes or neighbors or books or any online sources during your exam. It's just you and your brain and the computerized test. ACC has a number of testing centers. There's a testing center on each campus. This semester, the Rio Grande and Pinnacle campuses are closed, unfortunately, but there are plenty of other options. If you're not going to be able to use one of the ACC testing centers, you need to contact me right away, and we're going to need to contact the distance learning department to try and set up an alternative site for you to take your tests. You can't just come by my office and take it on paper. If you have a disabling condition or you know you're going to need special accommodations for testing, I highly recommend that you contact our Student Accessibility Services Office, or SAS. They have a number of resources available that can be really, really helpful. Also, if you know that you're not going to be near an ACC testing center during the semester, during a particular test, then it might be possible to set up an alternate testing site. But in order to do that, we need to get that set up way ahead of time. So if you think that's the case, I recommend that you go to the information in the syllabus about distance testing and contact me about that immediately. The 5 required unit exams will be posted in the exams folder on Blackboard. You won't be able to open these exams without a specific password that will be provided to you only in an ACC testing center. You have to take all 5 exams in order to pass the class. So if you skip an exam, you're not going to pass with anything other than an F. If, however, you take all 5 exams, you will also have the opportunity to take an optional final exam. The final is comprehensive, so it will cover everything we talk about for the entire semester. But if you take it and you score higher on the final than one of your unit exams, I will replace the low unit exam score with the higher optional final grade. Now you can only take that optional final if you've taken all 5 unit exams. You can't skip a test and say, I'll take the final later. That's not how it works. You have to take all 5 exams, and then that allows you to take the optional final. There are no makeups for exams. Let's discuss extra credit. Everybody loves extra credit. Now, I'm not going to offer any extra credit projects for this class. You can't do an extra report or something to bring up a test grade or that sort of thing. But I will put some extra credit questions on each exam. If you prepare for your exams, you should be prepared for those extra credit questions. They are optional. You don't have to answer the extra credit questions, but why not? Try for them. They can add some points to your test grades. The 5 unit exams are mandatory, and the deadlines for those exams are pretty firm. Now, if you have some kind of a crazy schedule conflict, do contact me. Email me as soon as you can, and so that we can figure out what we can do. I might allow you to negotiate an extension for one exam, and that might be by 24 hours, something like that. But that's it. I'm not going to allow you to negotiate extensions on every single exam, so don't expect to get those kinds of extensions. We can avoid a lot of problems this semester by you taking your exams by the deadline, and preferably 1 to 2 days before the deadline. This avoids things like computer issues, the computer shuts down and won't let you finish. This avoids things like running out of time at the testing center, that sort of thing. So do plan to get your exams done on time, and if possible, a little bit early. Each exam will cover material from the corresponding unit. So for example, Exam 1 is going to cover material from Unit 1. In this case, Unit 1 is going to cover the introduction part of the study guide, pages 1 through 28 of the study guide. It will cover any of the information in the discussion topics, and it will ask you questions about the homework assignment number 1. Exams 2 through 5 are also going to cover some information from the Living Planet videos. Exam 1 is the only exam that will not cover information from the videos. So here again we have the course schedule, and what you can see this time is that Unit 1 does in fact cover the study guide pages 1 through 28, and that the test is available for Unit 1 from Monday, September 16th, all the way until Sunday, September 22nd. The closing time of the test depends on the closing time of the testing center in which you take the test. So you get to choose where you take your test, but I would check ahead of time as to when they close. You want to make sure and give yourself enough time when you go in. Also, if the testing center is particularly busy because it's a crowded time and there's a line, you might not get to take your test if you wait to the last minute. And if that's the case, you don't get to take your test. So I do recommend that you take your test early in that availability period and not put it off to the last minute, and check ahead of time as to when that testing center will be open. I highly suggest that you review all of the testing center policies before you go in to take your first exam. You want to know what to expect when you go into that testing center so you're not surprised. Another thing to watch for is to make sure that you know which exam number you're taking, because they will all be available in the computer. If you open up the wrong exam and start taking that, you're not going to be able to go back and take the exam you're supposed to take. So make sure you know which exam you're taking before you go in. The testing center is extremely serious about security, and they have certain very strict policies that they follow to the letter. So you want to know about those before you go in. For instance, they are really, really particular about cell phones. You cannot have a cell phone in a testing center. Not even off, not in your pocket, none of that. If you're in a testing center and you suddenly remember that you have your cell phone in your pocket, don't touch it. If you take it out, regardless of whether it's on or off, they will see it. You will be recorded while you're in there, and they will kick you out and they will ban you from the testing center. So there are lockers provided for your possessions before you go into the testing centers. Make sure your cell phone's in that locker, not in your pocket, not in your hand. Again, read over the testing center policies before you go into the testing center to make sure you don't run afoul of any of these little rules. So hopefully you found this presentation helpful in clarifying how the course will be run, what you can expect of the course, and what I expect of you. Again, I do recommend that you go back and reread that syllabus very carefully and contact me with any questions that you have immediately.